Now to some breaking news you saw first in the Metro on your WLBT News app. The state's highest court won't hear an appeal from Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch in the Beth Ann White case. Now, the Mississippi Supreme Court rejected the appeal after an appeals court overturned White's sentence on fourth offense DUI. White was previously sentenced to 110 years in prison after killing two people while driving drunk in Hinds County. The Court of Appeals ruled the fourth offense DUI charge should not have been added to her indictment. It cited the statute of limitations that took 10 years off that initial sentence.